Well, good morning everybody from Fukui Prefecture. It is just about 10 a.m. and I'm sure you cannot see the watch because it is super bright and hot and sunny. It is about 32 degrees Celsius right now as we do this walk, and I've brought us out to what could be described as a temple village, an area that once had so many temples and shrines that it was kind of a center of power. It was a powerhouse of temples. And today we're gonna be going to and through one of the most beautiful of them all, a moss-covered one. And this area is a wildlife protection area out here in Fukui Prefecture. First minute and a half of the video and I'm already just massacring words. This prefecture, Fukui Prefecture, is known for its wildlife and bears. But one of the big differences out here is that unlike some areas of Japan where they try to get rid of the bears or drive them out or hunt them, this area protects and tries to encourage the residents to live with the bears. So right here we have some kind of stage performance. There's got to be some nice summer festivals that go on right here. But right now we are coming around the corner to, I'm so excited about this. Also, excuse the, look at this. Excuse the lovely noises in the background. We have construction over here, which is just wonderful. But this here is Heisenji Hakusan Shrine. And as any good journey does, today we start with stairs. A lot of them. I guess shrine, yeah, shrine. This particular shrine is known as one of Japan's more mossy shrines, and a lot of the grounds are covered in moss. Now, I had a friend who lives in the area highly recommend to come out here. Said that this is definitely a place that I would enjoy doing a walk in and would be a great match for the channel. So I'm following the advice of friends today, exploring new places. And although these stairs aren't steep, they are plentiful. And I actually started my day today by climbing a mountain, and so we're already something like 5 kilometers into our day. Look at this. I'm already very grateful for the opportunity to be here. This is lovely. Something just so calm and peaceful about it. To give you an idea, since I know that you can read all of this, I'll let you read that for a second. But this here gives you a peek at what the area looks like. In fact, just down the road from here, there's a castle. Okay, you know what? Let me do something that I never do in these walking videos and splice through just a few seconds of drone footage to show you the area from above. This area is I typically avoid doing that with these explore videos whenever I can, but this area is just too nice to pass up, and I figured it would be a worthwhile. What did you think? What did you think of the drone shots from above? If you're watching in the premiere, let me know in the chat. If you're watching afterwards, let me know in the comments section. It was switching things up just a little bit today, but I figured an area this beautiful, it would definitely be worth it. Now, I was a little bit concerned when I arrived because there were quite a few people in the parking lot, but as we get out here, it's just us. It's just you and me and the construction workers. So, isn't that lovely? I have no idea how far back this goes or how large this shrine is, but we're gonna walk it and find out together. Oh, look at that. Well, if there's stairs inviting us, I kind of feel like we have to go, right? Oh, the moss is so soft. Every step. Wow. Even this little moss-covered tree stump. Has this been placed in there, or is it growing out of it? It's growing out of it, and you can actually just see the roots there. That's... There we go. You can hear the sounds of the surrounding forest. Soft moss on the ground. I don't want to walk through this one, so I'm gonna come back this way and walk right through a spider web. That's fully how I intended to finish that sentence. I never used to, okay, I always kind of liked moss, so I'll try not to slip and fall because the moss is slippery. So when I was young, I used to love hanging out and playing with friends in forests and whatnot. I did all the usual stuff, the Boy Scouts and all those things. And I loved camping and just being out in nature. Well, you see, I've always kind of just loved the look of moss. And a few years back, I went through a bit of a phase of making kokedama, which are Japanese moss balls. And I set up like back in the day, I'd set up like an entire Facebook page for it and everything. So this is a pond here. Let's go swing by and check out the pond. I'd set up a whole Facebook page for my kokedama and everything. I had learned all these different techniques. Honestly, look at the moss here. Look how soft and beautiful that moss is. And I started learning about the different types of moss, and I got really invested into this whole moss ball culture. And if you've never seen a Japanese moss ball, they'll have like trees growing out of them and plants and stuff like that, or sometimes it's just the moss ball. But it gave me this increased appreciation and love for mossy areas. So, and you can see there, I'm glad that I didn't step on that other moss earlier, because this softer moss here looks like it needs to go undisturbed. So they've got these ones roped off here. Makes it nice and clear. Look at the tree as well. Just loving this. And to check out the shrine. Look at this. Oh wow. And you can go right down to the pond. This just feels like something out of another land. Something out of a movie. And while you have that peaceful, beautiful running water, it surprisingly just comes from that pipe over there. It's not a beautiful waterfall or anything like that. So oh All right, let's head back up this way. Let's take this path over here. What have we got here? Just a second. I see a hole in the ground. Oh, it's not as deep as I thought it would be. It's okay. We still... Look at the size of that tree stump. What? That is massive. Wow, okay. All right, moving on. I gotta stop getting distracted by every single little piece of moss and tree stump. Literally, if you stop and think, how many tree stumps and pieces of moss have I been distracted by so far? And one of the previous walking videos that I did, I had made the mistake of wearing my comfortable summer water shoes that let air and water just pass right through them, then ended up with very wet feet. So today we're going with the proper hiking boots and nearly falling down because we're not looking where we're going. And the hiking boots are already terribly dirty. Each one of these steps, by the way, is massive. Like, I need to actually lift my knee way up to get up them. But they are terribly dirty boots today because of the mountain climb that I did this morning. Now, we could go up this way. Seriously, the amount of green is almost overwhelming. It's just so nice. We could go up this way, but it looks very slippery and I can already see myself slipping. So we'll go back this way, make our way onto the main path and head up to the shrine itself. Really enjoying coming out to these. It's spots like this. A while back, I had asked everybody, would you prefer the 4K walks that we do on Premiere, or would you prefer the live streams? And it was split somewhat evenly, leaning more towards these 4K walks. And for spots like this, I can completely understand why. As much as I'd love to be able to share this with you live, the 720p quality just does not do it justice whatsoever. I almost feel like the 4K quality barely does it justice. A small part of me wishes I had brought a 256 gigabyte card so that I could have recorded this in 5K and just done this entire walk in 5K. Look at this. Wow, okay. There, we have options. Let's start this way, work our way up, and then work our way over there because you can see another shrine back that way. And just a chance to walk through these mossy paths. But I do enjoy doing the standard live streams as well. I enjoy them a lot because it gives us a chance to interact. When you guys say, hey, head back there and check that out, I can do that. And we can really just chat and interact. We can turn them into Q&As and everything like that. And I can answer you right here with my own voice. Whereas when we do these as a premiere, obviously I can hang out with you in the chat and I can answer questions and whatnot there. But I like answering you with my own voice. I like being able to shout out your name, thank you for asking questions and whatnot, and then be like, hey, that moss is for you. That moss is definitely not for you. That moss is for everybody. But so I do want to continue. I think that a lot more of the live streams are great for places like Tokyo and Osaka and Kyoto and the cities. I think cities are really great to explore on live streams. But these super nature-esque spots are just really, really made for the premiere videos. And I would not be getting a streamable signal out here anyway. And I'm going to pause this for a second and just say, There's one thing that I can't bring with you, can't bring to you through the video, and that's the smell of this place. So there's a slight smell of like the pine and the cedar and the woods around us, and there's this very sweet smell coming off of, I'm assuming coming off of the plants and the moss and what. I cannot describe. We need smell-o-vision, people. We absolutely need smell-o-vision. All right, I feel like this is not an official path to go up there. And again, since I want to avoid walking across the moss wherever I can, we'll make our way back through here. One of the previous walking videos that I did was also through a slightly mossy area, but was absolutely nothing in comparison to this. This is also the kind of place that I find myself tempted to want to make just a TOKYOLENS style video, just shot with all the B-roll and the music, and I can really feel some Ghibli-esque music right here. I can hear it in the background. Just feel it as you walk through. I can't believe, honestly, how few people are out here. Again, we're only at like, 20 after 10-ish on a weekday. It's a Wednesday morning. So obviously with people having full-time jobs and whatnot, it limits them from coming out here. And if you look at the surrounding area, this area doesn't have the easiest access to super major cities, and a lot of the towns around here are much smaller towns. So I feel like most people are probably just at work. It is also, I've chosen the timing for this particular trip very much on purpose. You see, I chose this trip to finish just as Japan's Natsuyasumi, or summer vacation, will be starting. You see, in Japan, at the end of July, there is Natsuyasumi. Okay, this is open. Let's walk over to this one. And Natsuyasumi is when all the kids get off for summer break, and families do vacations, the campsites fill up, the tourist spots fill up, people bring their families and kids out to spots like this, and Japan gets kind of busy again. And I wanted to A, avoid that, and B, if you travel right before or right after a major holiday time, you tend to get really lucky and get a lot of places all to yourself. They'll be just a little more empty than usual, as people are going to be either prepping for vacation or catching up on work from after their vacation. Are we able to walk around the back of this? I think we kind of can, and it's not mossy, so I'm going to go for it. It is kind of slippery, so I'm going to have to be careful with my steps. And there's definitely a huge spider. Yep. Tastes lovely. There's another shed back here that looks like, I would almost say it almost looks like a washroom, but it's definitely not a washroom. Coming back around the edge here. Okay, I'm just going to balance myself on this little space. There we go. So traveling, that would be like, if you were looking for a pro tip, I would say that traveling right before or right after any major holiday time is likely to yield you less crowds. So if you look at the Japanese holidays and long weekends and stuff like that, things tend to get real quiet before and after. A while back I had done a video on TOKYOLENS about Kyoto being empty, because Kyoto has just, it used to be the overseas tourist vacation spot. Everyone wanted to go. to Kyoto, understandably. And it had gotten to the point where it was kind of out of hand for a while. And then as soon as the borders closed down, Kyoto just went dead silent. And I wanted to be able to accurately kind of show a real quiet Kyoto, not a half quiet Kyoto. And so I chose to go right at the end of a long weekend to record the video. Now, admittedly, I think I had arrived on the Sunday and nearly panicked. There were a lot of people there. And then the Monday morning, everything just cleared right out. Just boom, gone. So I feel like this happens way more. So we're gated off here. We can't get in past here. And there's that set of stairs right there. And I can see the set of stairs. And I find myself wondering how to get to the set of stairs. Also, look at these trees. Just distracted Norm looking at trees. They're just gorgeous. But I can see myself, how do I get to the... And I feel like I say this more and more and more as I do temple walks and adventures. But especially when you come out to larger temple grounds here in Japan, it can very often feel like you're walking through a Zelda game. Like you can see the path over there, but then you got to figure out how to get to that path. I've had that with temples and shrines and campsites and everything of the like here in Japan. You always just feel, okay, we can get to it from here, but then can we go down? Let's take a second to appreciate this though. Look at that. Okay, so we have access to the Torii Gate from here and the little shrine area right over here. But my real question in all of this, because again, we are roped off here and in here. And remember when I said this is like a village of temples or a village of shrines? Again, each one of these is kind of counted as its own little shrine. Now, Fukui has a lot of this. Last night I was in Ono, and as we did our walk, okay. It looks like they've decided to preserve the moss growth here. You can't get through this. I couldn't see it from over there. But there we go. This stone pathway is now just locked off. That answers my question. I was out in Ono in Fukui Prefecture to see a castle that was up in the sky, up on top of a mountain that overlooks the village. And that area as well, I'm so distracted by the moss and everything. That area as well had a huge, densely populated area of just temple after temple after temple. If you caught that live stream and you ended up getting a final count on the number of temples that we came across, I'd absolutely love it if you'd leave me a comment on that video and let me know, because I still don't think that we have an official count of all the temples. There's another little shrine over here. I was gonna say let's go down this way, but we can't. Did I not? Oh, okay, I came up from over there. I thought I came up from here and that the rope had just magically closed. Such was not the case. But you can see there used to be a walking path through there, and now it's all moved over this way. The green in this area is just so vibrant and beautiful. It's like being on another world. And here we have an all wooden Torii Gate. And a lot more stairs. We have all the stairs in the world up here. And then there's another tiny shrine right there. It's got a gate there that leads up to the shrine. And it looks like there's another pathway down here. Interesting. Let's take a little peek here before we head up the stairs. This area is also known for being along the, I believe it's called the Echizen Pilgrimage Trail. Wow, look at this. Look at this road. Oh, I don't want to do what we did in one of the previous videos and accidentally circumvent the laid out path and go the wrong way. So let's head back up this way and go up that lovely long flight of stairs and see what awaits us up at the top. So the pilgrimage trail that runs through here is one of the major or main well-known or famous pilgrimage trails here in Japan. There's actually several really great pilgrimage things that you could do in Japan. Like you could walk the walk from Tokyo all the way to Kyoto and Osaka. I have friends who have done that. Or you could do the Nakasendo Trail, which is just absolutely beautiful. Or there's, if you ever saw the video of Japan's most, Japan's most beautiful temple, Japan's most beautiful shrine, when I went to Nachi Taisha, a gorgeous shrine with a waterfall in the background. There's also a trail behind there. Or you could do the Shikoku Pilgrimage, where you go to all of the different, oh, we got a spider buddy down here, where you could go to, look at that, daddy long legs, where you could go to all of the different temples, shrines. I'm losing it. This is, it doesn't look steep at all, but it still takes a toll on you. It really does. Very, very worth it though. This morning I mentioned how I climbed up to the top of a mountain. The total hike was maybe only about a kilometer and a half, but it was a very, very steep mountain trail. It was nothing like this. Like it was lift your legs, try not to rip your pants on every single step. And as I said, this area is well known for bears, and they encourage the locals to stick with it, you know, live with the bears, protect it, report it so that they can keep the maps updated of where the bear sightings have occurred, but try to live alongside of the bears. And that mountain there were bear signs absolutely everywhere. When I spoke to the city on the phone about whether or not it would be safe to travel up there, ooh, side adventure, they said, yep, if you can, try to avoid going up in the dark. There are plenty of bear sightings on there, and watch it because there's an electric fence that's kind of hard to see at the beginning of the trail. So please take caution and step over it. And I'm glad they mentioned that, because something like 4:30 in the morning, I was barely awake and almost tripped over the electric fence, and then remembered, and I was like, ah, and there it was, like 3-4 feet in front of me, and I was able to step over it. I'll tell you this much though, it's a really low electric fence, about that high off the ground. And I'm just pulling a spider off me right now. I'll tell you right now, have you ever played that game Operation? That old 90s board game where you've got to take the bones and whatnot out of the patient who's laying on the table, and you have these like metal tweezers, and if they touch the edge of where the thing is, it goes bzzz. Yeah, stepping over this super low, like knee-high electric fence really made me feel like I was playing the game Operation, because and that is what it sounds like when I almost completely go down. I knew it was coming at some point. We're okay though. I managed to catch myself, did not fall very happy about that. Slightly prouder than I probably should be. Shouldn't have slipped in the first place, but you know, humans, we slip. And so I felt like I was playing the game Operation as I stepped over it, because I was like, if I brush this, and like it was incredibly hot and humid. So I was like, if I brush this with my knee or my leg, I'm just gonna get quite a shock here. So, whew. But they apparently had an electric fence around the entire mountain just because of the amount of wildlife that lives on that mountain. And they just want to try and keep it separate from the city. Oh boy. I will say, I'm already surprised by how much deeper into the forest this particular trail goes. I'm gonna step off to the side. The steps are just making it more difficult than it needs to be. But I expected this to be fairly large, but this is, you could probably spend a good afternoon here. So far, the pace we're going, we're what, about 30 minutes walk in, and that's exploring but continually moving forward the entire time, which means you're also probably looking at least 30 minutes out. Well, you could probably walk and do it faster in 15 or 20, but you're looking at easily a good hour. And again, as we get up here, nobody, absolutely no one. With a number of cars that were in the parking lot, I fully anticipated people. And as we get up here, I'm finding myself getting more and more curious about the pathway that we found back there. Look at this. Just feels like something straight out of a video game. I went out of my way this morning to, oh, we got some people stacking rocks over here. Interesting. These ones have fallen. We shall restack. There we go. And they fell again. I guess I'm not as balanced as I once thought. Can we balance? Oh, there we go. Got it stacked. All right. I feel like this here has got to be the main shrine, the last major set of stairs. But I absolutely have to make my way back to that path and explore it. I'm just way too curious about it. That is, unless there are any magical paths up here that you want to present me with. Forest shrine. No. This is the main shrine here. Now you would step up here, you would make your donation and prayer right there. Just double check. No magical pathways. Nope. I really like this kind of forest though. It's just so beautiful and peaceful, especially when you're lucky enough to get it all to yourself. Although I'm sure this fence is not electric, I still don't want to touch it, and I definitely don't want to cross it, and I don't want to cross it because, that's right, bear danger. And you can tell that it's the type of bear danger that's caused problems, because it's used to be a hiking trail, as you can see up there. And I touched it and it's not electric, so we didn't die. Yep. So there are actually more shrine and temple areas up that way that we simply can't access because of stranger danger. Bear danger. Bear danger is what we were going for. And honestly, you know as well as anybody that if you bring a picnic basket, you're just asking for extra trouble. So don't bring a picnic basket. Okay, let's see how quickly from here we can make our way back to, we got 10:39 right now. Since it's all downhill, let's see if I can get down there without falling down the stairs this time, so I can check out where that path leads. You cannot put a beautiful mountain path with cobblestone roads in front of me and have me not want to explore it. Like, come on. I will say slopes are easier for going up and stairs feel so much easier for going down. I once got a question the other day if I have ever climbed Mount Fuji, and I've talked about it once or twice, but I did climb Mount Fuji. I actually broke my big toe on Mount Fuji. Going up was super easy. I could not have been prepared for how easy going up was, and it set me up for the real struggle, which is coming down, because on the way down my legs were just completely dead, absolutely obliterated, and coming down was so difficult that I decided I'm gonna run down. I'm gonna do this whole like running and sliding thing that I saw other people doing, where they're basically skiing through the volcanic rock on Mount Fuji. I'm like, oh, you can just slide right through it, until my boot hit a volcanic rock, and more amazingly, the sole of my boot just came right off on my right foot, and the toe must have just crumpled up against the rock. And that was within the first 30 to 40 minutes of the descent of Mount Fuji. I had something like 2 or 3 hours left to go, and I had to I'm losing my words. I had about 3 or 4 hours left to go, and I had to go down with a broken shoe and a broken toe. And so what I did is I had brought duct tape with me just in case, and I decided to duct tape up my shoe so that I would be able to keep going down. But I'd say every 10 to 15 minutes the volcanic rock and whatnot would wear through the duct tape, and I had to re-tape it. So it was definitely a difficult climb. It's not one that I really think that I would do again, but I am glad that I did it once. So it's definitely an experience. When you get up to the top of Mount Fuji, you can see, you look down on the city, but you get so used to being on this angle that you actually feel like you're flat. So while you're looking down on the city, it can feel like you're looking straight across to the city, and you actually look down on other mountains, some of which have like lakes and whatnot in them, and it looks like there are mountains and lakes up in the sky because you get so used to being on the angle of the mountain. It's really hard to describe. I don't think I've ever managed to describe it accurately, but we are just about back at that path now. I'm really hoping that it's not one of those like paths that just dumps us out in a parking lot. Here's your parking lot. All right, here we go. The new adventure begins, adventure 2.0. And again, look at all the moss. Look at that. The way this pathway is put together reminds me a lot of the Nakasendo Trail, and the section of it that I yearned for years and years. So I'm wondering how far this goes, how far along we can follow, and if it might just take us into something else altogether. Totally different area. Hoping it keeps us in the shade, because the sun has been incredibly strong lately. It has just been beating down, and you always run the risk of heat stroke, sunstroke, dehydration, all of that, which is why today I've decided to put on a hat, and you'll have to excuse my blowing as yet another spider climbed its way onto me and the camera and decided to tag along for a ride. Okay. Huh. Alternate routes. Let's head up this way. Let's see where it takes us. Let's see what the back area of this looks like. Now, actually, you can see a little bit of a sign right here. You actually probably can't because it's kind of dark. And there's a frog there. He's jumping through the water. Hello, Mr. Frog. Can you see him? Woo! Okay. So, we got the washroom. Parking lot's back that way. Wow, we're almost a kilometer from the parking lot. And I am going to try and jump across this again. Here we go. There we go. Whew. Oh, look at that. Sunny countryside Japan with the stream off to the side. Actually, the sun isn't all that bad today. Some days it's like you feel like you're underneath a magnifying glass, but today, while it's bright, it's kind of a gentle sunshine. This spot right here, super slippery. Yeah, try not to fall. And it looks like someone has some fields up here that they're tending to. The crickets. I love crickets. And amazingly, you wouldn't expect for there to be more stuff up here, like washrooms and everything like that, but let's see where she takes us. I would almost think that it would loop back to the shrine that we were just at, but there weren't any alternate roads in and out of there. And you might be like, well, Norm, there was a sign right there. I'd say over half the kanji, half the characters on there, just would have taken me way too long to try to read. So we skipped right over reading. There we are. Okay. So there's a washroom here. If you're hiking along here and you need a break, let's keep going just a little bit more and see what this area has to offer. You can see the forested area in there, but there's also just something about these quiet countryside paths that I've always enjoyed. And more often than not, I'm like, well, I don't want to get too far from the car, or don't want to get too far from the station, or something like that always stops me. But when we're on these walks, I decide to let nothing stop me. We're doing the walk. We're enjoying the stream. We're enjoying the views. That Japanese countryside. Look at that tall grass. That just screams of snakes. Oh. Lots of frogs around here. I'll say that much. Everywhere I look, there's frogs hopping around. There we go. It's very steep. I'll say that much. But if we look back this way, you get kind of a view of the area. And you know what? I think it might actually be worth exploring off the side street. So let's head down this way and see what it presents to us. Oh. So I used to go out to the area of Ehime quite often in Shikoku Prefecture. And what do we got here? So they don't want you to go in here, and I'll tell you right now, I'm okay with that. I can't imagine looking at this and going, you know what? I'll run around in there. Why don't I hang out in there? See what comes at me first. No, thank you. The mountains in the background. So when I would go out to the area of Shikoku and hang out in Matsuyama, I always enjoyed going out to the mountains and finding spaces like this and just hanging out in them as often as possible. And I thought that was a frog, but it was a leaf. Frog leaf. And so I'm really loving this space, and it looks like we've come across something here. So let's go do a little more exploring. But it's been some time since I've had the chance to go out to Matsuyama. It's probably been at least 2 years. You see, before the world turned into what it is now, for a short while, I was helping run an NPO, a non-profit organization, out in that area. We did events and everything, and looks like this is our route. So we're gonna walk this way, see where it takes us. And as a lot of them were in-person events, a lot of international events and, you know, communication-based stuff and helping set up stuff for, okay, this says entrance and exit, but to what? What are we entering and exiting? I have so many questions. Does this sign have English for us? It does. What are the chances? Okay. All right. So it is the restoration site of a gate and mud wall. I will never stop loving the English on these. If you want to know more about it, you can freeze frame there and check that out. But this is the restoration site of a gate and a mud wall. What what a wonderful name for it. It's just what it is. It's plain and simple. This is what it is. We're gonna put it that way. Google told us that's how we should say it, and away we go. So back to the NPO out in Shikoku, but as a lot of the, if not all of the events that were being run were in-person events, understandably they were no longer an option once things turned into what they are now. And so the NPO unfortunately basically got shut down, and my repeated reason for going out to Shikoku and whatnot kind of dried up. There are still, oh, got a salamander down here. Hey buddy. Again, usually they run away pretty quick, but he stuck around for a second. Thanks for that, dude. They're lightning fast though. They're like super duper quick, and he's just sticking around for it. Cool. Thanks. Who knows? Maybe he watches the channel. Just wants to be a part of it. As I pulled up here, one of those giant Japanese hornets decided to land itself right on the dashboard of the car, and I was just not having that. It was a big one too. I would say it was probably just shorter than my index finger here. And apparently, okay, so this is again one of the entrances and exits to the site. It's pretty much a ruins by now. There are a lot of like ruins and castle ruins and whatnot in Japan that you can visit, but more often than not, a lot of them are just a blank space like that, and that is a huge spider. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see it in 1080 or in 4K. That is a massive spider. Oof, no thank you. Moving on, moving on. Oh, I do say walking through these walls is quite fun though. But I want to get back to Shikoku this year. There's currently at least 2 to 3 videos that I want to make in Shikoku. One potential documentary that I'd like to make out in Matsuyama, a follow-up video from so many questions I got about another video. And there's a piece of Halloween content that I already kind of have planned that I want to go out and shoot in the Tokushima area. I think we're just this as well. This is marked as an entrance and exit, or exit and entry. I'm not going in there. Okay, I'll take a few steps in there, but entrance and exit to what? And guess what? I think the giant bee is back and he has found us. So I am going to work my way back this way, and we will leave that forest, which is clearly his forest. He's marked it as his territory. He says, Norm, don't come in, and I respect that. Oh, there's another salamander down here. Just snuck under the rock. So when I was a kid, I had the opportunity to go out to summer camps and stuff like that, in addition to camping with the family. And what? Oh, okay, I think the choice is clear. We were heading this way, but this just feels like something we have to do. Absolutely, 100%. For those of you who have stuck around to like this point in the video, so much love for you. So much love. I like to playing around with, you know, how long is a good length for one of these walking and exploration videos. Some of them are gonna probably be like around 20-30 minutes. So many spider webs. Oh Lord. Oh, on the plus side though, every time we walk through a spider web, the spider seems to find its way up onto the camera, so I can always just pull the spider off of there. But some of these are going to be 20-30 minutes depending on the area, but some like this where we have the opportunity to do more exploration and find more stuff. This is why it's called TOKYOLENS Explore. This is exactly what I was hoping for out of these videos. I've talked 1,000 times now about how I used to kind of do these walks on my own, but there always came a point where I was like, okay, I need to either, you know, or get off the pot, because I'm either going to make a video here or I'm not. And how far can I really walk if I'm not, you know? There's only so many hours in a day, and while I've always enjoyed these walks and exploration, even before starting TOKYOLENS as a whole, there was always something. There's always something. You know, you got your full-time job, you have your responsibilities, you have your life. There's only so many hours in the day, and there's always a bit of a schedule to follow. But I've decided, as we do these, if the opportunity for adventure and exploration presents itself, we're gonna take it. We're gonna go off on every little moss-covered path that we can find and just explore and have a good time. That's it. Plain and simple. Okay, so it seems like we'd come up the road here, gone across here, and now we're here, but it also doesn't look like the path ends. So I want to keep doing a little more exploration. Also, every time you see the camera shift and tilt like this, it's because I'm clearing spider webs off of myself, because they are absolutely everywhere. The other thing is, with these walking videos, I am for the most part using action cams for them, because again, small, handheld, easy to use, but I don't entirely trust them, and so I'm always a little bit worried that we'll get part way in and I'll just be like, memory card full, goodbye. It's done it before. It's been like, you have 20 minutes left, and then it's just memory card full. And got another little shrine here, and I feel like I can actually hear a river off in the distance there, but there's a fence that's stopping us from getting to it. There we go. Absolutely. Wow, look at this tree. I can't believe I didn't look up until now. Look at this tree. What is this sorcery? This has to be one of the biggest trees in Japan. There's no way that this isn't one of the biggest and oldest trees in the entire country. I've seen trees that claim to be the biggest and oldest tree in the country, or in the top 100, that aren't nearly as large as this tree here. This is ginormous. Look at this. What? Oh, wow. Okay, also, I got really distracted by the tree and I forgot to check that I wanted to see if this was a hiking path or not. And I'm gonna go ahead and guess that's a big ol' or not, and we're gonna go ahead and head back this way. Wow. You see, we went out to, I believe it was Yakushima, which has one of Japan's 100 largest trees, and you could honestly, there's a whole forest hike to take you out there, and while it's nice, it's definitely a nice hike. I, in many ways, would almost say that this is equally as nice, if not in some ways even nicer. And when you get there, you can barely see the tree whatsoever. It is it is shrouded. It is, looks like it's dead, to be honest. And this is just, that is a big, beautiful tree right there. And I see some kind of building up ahead of us and don't know what it is. So I guess that is the next. It looks like it might be some kind of dam or water treatment facility. I think I see water. Just like I see this big, beautiful field right here. And today, once again, huge gratitude. We're gonna go ahead and knock on some wood and be thankful for the fact that this was another day that was supposed to be rain and thunder. And I figured this place, as beautiful as it is in the sun, would be just as beautiful in the rain and thunder. And I can actually see the dam gate lifting up. You never get to see that. Well, I figured this would be just as beautiful either way. And so I committed to coming out here no matter what the weather. Okay, that's pretty neat. All right. So it says, dangerous, do not go inside. Okay, didn't want to, not going to. And now that we're out in the direct sunlight, I can see just how many spider webs are across my GoPro. And it's a lot of spider webs. It's like 3, 4, 5, 6. There's all the spider webs. Every spider web there is. So now we're gonna walk down through here, explore a little bit of the town area, pull off to the side of the road here as much as we can to let this gentleman pass. There we go. And you can see some of the countryside Japanese houses here. These houses remind me of the peninsula of Noto out in Ishikawa, right near Fukui here. And there's an area that I talked about previously that I had done a video on maybe 2 or even 3 years ago, where the area no longer has any young people and the population is declining quickly, as is with the case with many countryside villages in Japan. So houses like this, instead of leaving them just completely abandoned, the area has kind of taken them over and they rent them out for people to come and stay in. And they have a system where if you like the house enough, or if you like the area enough, you can actually purchase for a very, very low government subsidized price one of the houses. And that's something that also comes up in a lot of the live stream discussions. Is actually get a lot of comments on YouTube about it too. People being like, hey, did you know you can get a house super cheap in Japan? And yes, there is something called the Akia Bank, and that's only one of the services available to enable you to pick up abandoned properties that have been purchased by this bank. And there are all these different types of systems. Some of them will enable you to purchase them for pennies on the dollar. So you're looking at maybe picking up a house this size for something like $50,000 to $100,000, depending on the condition it's in. Like a giant, beautiful Japanese house. But then there are certain requirements, like you need to have a renovation plan and spend a certain amount on renovation within a certain amount of time. You need to have a plan to live there for a certain number of years, or produce and create a functional, active business there. There's all these different things. In fact, some places will even basically pay you to live there. And there are areas like out in Ishikawa and Noto where they have systems that will basically be like, here's a house, we'll pay you a pittance every month to live here and work. And there's a little kitty over there. I don't know if he's picked up on the camera, but right there, just relaxing in the shade on the temple grounds there. And so you could live out in a place like this in the Japanese countryside, but there are challenges that come with that. For example, more often than not, there won't be active internet connection or lines that run there. So you may not be able to get internet at all, let alone high-speed internet. So if you're in a position where you work from home, if you can get at least limited internet access, great. But if there's no internet access, it might be challenging. And the vast majority of these places don't have a lot of businesses nearby. There's not a lot of jobs to be done. In the countryside, some of the most common jobs are going to be constructions, factories, and mountain work is actually another really big one. A lot of places just have work for mountain workers, and as they age and as you know, the young people don't choose to take on the construction or mountain work, then the jobs tend to dry up and disappear, and the towns along with them. All right, let's hop down here and see if we can't visit the kitty cat over here. He is. Hey, buddy. Hi. He is super chill. And head back down this way and go around the side. So while it is entirely possible to get a house here in Japan for either a ridiculously low price, or in some cases even at no cost whatsoever. I was trying to see if we can get down there, but that doesn't seem like an option. More often than not, finding work or simply being able to do your work there is the consistent struggle that everyone faces. And it's one of the reasons that a lot of these villages end up dying out. There are some beautiful villages out in the area of Tokushima. Some really nice land along the river. For example, I had done a little piece on, oh, we got a tiny little frog hopping along here. He's super small. Can we see him? Hey, bud. Looks like Kermit. A little mini Kermit. And the village with the scarecrow dolls. Now, this village here is a perfect example. A lot of people in the comments saying I would move out there in a heartbeat. And yeah, completely understandable. But you're looking at quite a drive to the nearest city. And when I say quite a drive, I don't just mean in terms of distance. I also mean in terms of the quality of the mountain roads. And so if you get snowed in or if there is any kind of typhoon or disaster, you could just be stuck there for days and weeks at a time until the roads are completely cleared. And then on top of that, that area there has next to no signal. And so your best bet in those areas, because I can almost guarantee you there's no high-speed internet lines running through there. So your best bet would usually be some kind of pocket wireless Wi-Fi dealie. And chances are those wouldn't connect out in spaces like that. So really, really beautiful houses out here. This one here actually has boards across the front windows and whatnot. Really beautifully designed and built. I've actually never seen that. Really nice. And this house up here as well, just gorgeous. The red tint, the red paint on the doorway and whatnot. And with this, I think this is gonna start taking us back to where we parked. So I am gonna start wrapping things up right here. Don't forget to leave something in the comments. You guys know I love it when you leave something in the comments on these videos when they wrap up. Let me know, was there a favorite part? Did you like the shrine the most? Did you like the forest exploration section the most? Did you like that house the most? What did you enjoy the most out of this walk? And would you move out to a Japanese countryside house and live there? A place like this. A place that's old and broken down and you'd have to put, you know, $50,000, $60,000 into fixing it up. Would you do that? And if so, what would your plan be? Like, if you couldn't get internet, if you couldn't work, what would your plan to make a lifestyle out in a place like this in the Japanese countryside be? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're new, I would absolutely love to have you, so please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give the video some love if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for joining this little walk. Also, don't forget to let me know what you thought about the addition of the drone footage at the beginning. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you guys, as always, for being a part of this. I look forward to the next one. And you guys know I will see you again real soon.